I did something really stupid. About 2 years ago, I went to a club to see one of my favorite DJs, and I decided to stand near the front of the club, close to the DJ, but with this giant PA speaker in my left ear. No hearing protection whatsoever, just raw dog and all that bass. And I stayed in that spot for nearly 4 hours, and after leaving the club, I couldn't hear properly out of my left ear. Everything sounded muffled. And that didn't go away the next day or the day after that. I got scared and I thought to myself, like I messed up my hearing forever. But thankfully, a few days later, my hearing returned to normal. But that whole experience taught me that earplugs are not optional, especially if, you're gonna stand next to giant speakers for hours. So to protect my ears for the last 2 years, I have been using the Loop Switch 2, which is one of the most popular earplugs on the market. I've taken these to raves, I've taken these to concerts, I've taken them to music festivals, and we've even tested these earplugs in our labs. But at $60 US, the Loop Switch 2 cost over 600 times as much as a pair of dollar store earplugs. So, are the Loop Switch 2 really as good as they claim to be, and are they worth the money? For me, yeah, they are that good and they are worth it, and I have 3 reasons why. But for you, these might not be the right choice for you, and I have 3 reasons for that as well. Also, to be clear, this video is not sponsored by Loop. They haven't seen this video beforehand. In fact, they don't even know we're making this video. They have no say in what I say, and the opinions I'm expressing in this video are entirely my own, both good and bad. But before we continue, if you are looking for new wireless headphones, then a good option to consider is the Sony WH-1000XM6. It is available on Amazon, link in the description below. Now, full transparency, this is a paid link, so we do get compensation every time you click on the link. However, by clicking the link, you really are helping support everything we do here at SoundGuys. So if you're enjoying all this free content and our free testing data, then please click the link in the description below. Thank you so much. Now, on with the video. To start, I want to first address the biggest selling point about the Loop Switch 2, which is the switch, the fact that you can actually choose between different levels of noise isolation. Some people see this as a gimmick, but others see this as quite useful. In my opinion, the switch on the Switch 2 is incredibly useful, but not in the way Loop intended. Let me explain. The Loop Switch 2 offers 3 different levels of noise isolation. The Engage mode provides the least amount of noise isolation, and according to Loop, they say that you should use this mode for conversations. Switching to the Experience mode increases the noise isolation, and Loop says that this mode should be used for concerts. Finally, if you want maximum noise isolation, then you can switch to the Quiet mode. According to Loop, they think this is best used for commutes or basically any situation where you just want to block as much noise as possible, like you're studying or something. At music festivals, if I'm in the middle or just like right in the center of a crowd, I find that the Engage mode offers a good balance between protecting my hearing and still letting me hear enough from the speakers to enjoy the music. However, if I were standing closer to the sides of a stage, I would actually adjust the earplug on that side to a stronger isolation level. So for example, if I'm on the left side of the crowd, closer to the left speakers, I would switch my left earplug to the Experience mode, or the second level, while keeping the right earplug on the lowest level, since that ear is further away from the speaker. So rather than switching modes based on my listening environment, what I'm actually doing is I'm using the different modes to try and balance the level of hearing protection I get depending on where I'm standing. But speaking of hearing protection, I find that the Switch 2 really is effective in blocking outside noise, and I'm saying this both subjectively and objectively. Let me give you an example. I am somebody who loves going to EDC Las Vegas. It's this giant 3-day music festival that goes on for like 12 hours a night. It's got massive stages, and the volume gets loud, as in 100 decibels or higher. Now, since going to EDC, I have been wearing the Loop Switch 2, and they have absolutely saved my ears from significant hearing damage. When I'm in the middle of the crowd in front of these giant stages, I am wearing my Switch 2. And as soon as I leave those big crowds and I go to a quieter area and I take off the earplugs, I can still hear properly. I don't feel like I have to yell. I can kind of maintain a decent volume for my voice. I don't have to go, "What? What did you say? Sorry, I'm deaf now." But don't just take my word for it. We actually tested the Loop Switch 2 in our labs a while back, and we found that the Switch 2 can block out around 67 to 73% of perceived outside noise, which is better performance than we got from dollar store earplugs. Now, are the Loop Switch 2 the best performing earplugs the company makes? No, actually. And if you want to know which loop earplugs block out the most noise, then make sure to check out this video we made a while back. Regardless, when it comes to concerts or music festivals, I can say for certain that the Loop Switch 2 does effectively protect your hearing. Another thing that makes the Loop Switch 2 a very attractive option for earplugs is its portable design. It comes with a very compact case that makes it really easy to carry around, and the case has this little loop that you can use to attach to a keychain so that you can always carry it with you at all times. But I have to warn you, the design of the Loop Switch 2 is good, but it is not perfect. In fact, there are some aspects about the design that range from a mild inconvenience to an absolute deal breaker. For example, with the Loop Switch 2, it's kind of hard to tell which earplug is for the left or right ear, especially in the dark. Now, there are inscriptions, if you look closely, that show you which earplug goes in what ear, but if you're at a concert or a festival where the lighting is dark or ever-changing, then you're gonna have a hard time intuitively figuring out which goes into what ear. Secondly, the case is a little inconvenient to use. Granted, there are little plastic holders molded into the case to help guide how the earplugs should be placed. But again, in the dark, it can be kind of tricky to figure out how the earplugs are supposed to, get seated into the case. Also, if you're in the middle of a crowd trying to open the case to get your earplugs, somebody could actually bump into you, and the earplugs could just jump out of the case and onto the floor, which has happened to me before, twice. Now, miraculously, I have, sniper vision built into my eyes, and I have been able to find my black earplugs on the dark floors. But you might not be as lucky as me. And now I gotta find all the earplugs. I don't know where they are. It's like a tic-tac box. There is a fix for this, and Loop, I hope you're listening, because I'm about to give you $1 billion idea here. Magnets. You know how the AirPods have a bit of a magnet to properly seat the earbuds in the case? I feel like Loop needs to integrate the same thing. If they used magnets, it could help snap the earplugs into position and also hopefully avoid the issue of them falling out if somebody bumps you. Because right now, without magnets, these earplugs are just jostling in the case, and look at that. They just fall out. So Loop, telling you right now, magnets. The other thing you have to be really careful about is the fact that the Loop earplug design may not actually fit your ears properly. Now, sure, Loop does include several ear tip options in the box to help you get the best fit, but even after that, you might find that Loop's ring design or ear tip shape may not suit your own ear anatomy. In my case, I find that the Loop Switch 2 fits my ears comfortably, and they actually do stay in my ears even when I'm headbanging to rhythm or hardstyle or any of the hardcore genres. However, I have had friends tell me that they don't like how the Loop earplugs fit in their ears, or they feel comfortable but they just don't stay in their ears. And again, sometimes that is not necessarily a problem with the product. Sometimes it's just that that product is not compatible with your ear anatomy. Now, unfortunately, you cannot just go to a retail store and try Loop earplugs before you buy them. However, Loop does offer a 100-day return policy if you order from them directly. So if you're not sure if these are going to fit you, then it might be best to buy from Loop directly, try them on for yourself, and then see if you're going to keep them or return them. Now, if loops don't work for you, then I recommend checking out earplugs from companies like Curved. With Curved, I really like how they use more of a sharper ear fin shape. This shape should help create a more secure fit with your ears compared to the circular ring that Loop has on its earplugs. Now, the last reason why I think the Loop Switch 2 might be a tough sell for some is because of its price. Again, this retails for $60 US. If you live in Canada, that price jumps to a cool 80 Canadian dollars, which makes my wallet cry. And to add salt to the wound, I've never seen the Loop earplugs go on sale. Seriously, never. It's a lot of money to shell out for a bit of plastic and silicone. So if you don't find yourself really going to raves or concerts that often, then you could make do with just some dollar store earplugs. If you have the AirPods Pro 2 or Pro 3, the hearing protection features might even offer good enough protection for a concert here and there. But if you are like me, and you go to several concerts and festivals throughout the year, then you could justify paying a premium for earplugs like the Loop Switch 2. For me, the Loop Switch 2 feel comfortable, they fit securely in my ears, and being able to toggle between different noise isolation strengths has been really useful. The price, I'll admit, is pretty freaking steep for earplugs, but through all the raves and festivals I've been to in the last 2 years, it has been really nice having the Loop Switch 2 in my pocket. Now, if you're curious about how Loop's other earplugs compare to the Switch 2, then make sure to check out this full breakdown right here.